Welcome to Office Hours. I am Steve Drost. With me, as always, Will Kaplan. Both Will and I, of course, from the Quivr team. And what is Quivr? We are the CRM built by financial advisors for financial advisors. And our objective, super simple. How can we help you run your business at peak efficiency? Now, each episode of Office Hours, we're going to tackle a couple of topics brought to us by our users who are trying to do just that, make their life a little bit easier. Will, we've had some good growth on the Quivr team from our user base, and it's been a lot of fun. And with those come a lot of really kind of fun conversations. We get new users. They are obviously successful advisors running great firms, but some of our conversations are more of the, well, we did it this way. Why do you do it this way? And how can we reconcile the two of those so we can be effective users of Quivr? And I don't know about you, but with newer users, a very common conversation that I have is, well, where do I put Quivr inside of Quivr? Where do I put my attorney inside of Quivr? Where do I put, and it's not our clients. Our clients are usually pretty intuitive. Where do we put everybody else, these
What
COIs?
right, there's other parts of my Rolodex that I need to figure out how to use.
And it's interesting too, because some of our new firms and existing firms, they put so much information about their COIs in there. And that makes sense. Maybe, maybe they do really, really, really good planning and they want to have that great connection. Maybe their COI is the referral base. I don't know. And then we have other people who I don't know if they have a single COI in their system. And that's fine. Maybe they just don't need it. They don't leverage that. They don't do that type of work, whatever it might be. Now, myself, and I would assume most of our users are somewhere in the middle. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that most of the data sets that I've seen, it's not super detailed necessarily, but I think a lot of the advisors that we're talking to, they at least want to know who these people are. Like, where does Will get his insurance? Who's Will's the state attorney? Like, they want some of that relational data, especially when it comes to the clients, because when they're having that conversation, they want to look informed. They want to, make sure, oh, right, I sent you over to talk to Steve and, Steve's fantastic. He's going to take care of you for that PNC policy or whatever that you need. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because as I've had more and more and more of these conversations, it's like people want to classify and filter their COIs no differently than their clients. If I have a client who's receiving my A client service calendar, who I'm going to do all of these things for, and they work here, I'm going to get the tags built out. I'm going to get them as a client household. I'm going to get all of this stuff clean and organized. And we can apply that exact same functionality to our COIs. I mean, on COIs, we only have the single record type, right? If they're a COI, you got to pick COI. Whereas with prospects and clients and ex-clients, et cetera, we have more options. But really, you have endless amount of ways to classify and filter based on COIs. I mean, sure, you pick the COI record type, but right away on the first page on that COI, you have a field called COI category. And Will, it's a pick list. What does pick list mean?
Pick list means that as much as we'd love to own it, you can ultimately take control of it and make it your own.
You
And
own it. And I've seen some
there's some
firms,
good and
yeah.
there's some bad.
There are
That's a
both ways, but the good thing here though is me and my own instance of Quivr, my company. What I am doing for attorneys is I have them called attorney. That's it, because I only work with estate attorneys and then the single attorney that I work with to help me on my business, but I don't really need that classification. You get into some maybe higher net worth firms. Like we have one firm who came on recently that specializes working with professional athletes. They got a lot more different types of attorneys in there. They've got their agents, they've got, estate, they've got prenup, postnup, all that kind of stuff, right? Like they've got attorneys, business managers, you name it. So like their list of categories just night and day to what I'm going to see, but it doesn't matter because again, you go to the community, you search pick list or editing a pick list, and in 2 minutes, you're going to know how to edit a pick list and you can make that whatever you need. Now, let's say you want more details. At my old firm, we used to send a few CPA firms a bunch of cookies right around tax time. I don't know if you guys ever did something like that. Do you know how we did that? Our poor old secretary, or poor, not old, but old as in poor, like sad, that she had to do this. She had to take a list to every single advisor, and every advisor
no,
got to circle who they wanted to get cookies.
no.
And then she would take that back to her desk and she would have to manually type all that stuff in. And it's like, what a waste of time. I felt so bad for her. On Quivr, what you could do is, yeah, sure, maybe relation or COI category is accounting firm, but you could add a tag that says, "We send them cookies." You then export that and you upload it or you go bring it to the bakery and say, I want everybody to get cookies. And you're done.
And Steve, one of I think the really important things about this is, and this touches on a different topic, and so I don't want to go too far off of this, but like it's this concept of having clean data. And this, I think, is really where these pick lists shine in that if I'm categorizing these different individuals and I type attorney and I do ATOR instead of ATTOR, then when I'm trying to automate or trying to do something like a report or whatever it might be, I'm going to miss the one that I spelled wrong. And I think that's one of the powerful things about using these pick lists and taking ownership of them is, yes, you can customize stuff the way that you want to customize it, but it also helps protect that you're actually going to get the results that you want because it's going to cut down on errors in your data. And so that thing about the cookies, like you're not going to miss circling one of these attorneys because you just read over it today. It's going to be a pick list item. You can just set it and then forget about it. Or it's not going to be something where you're looking for all of your estate attorneys, but because you spelled estate wrong once, you miss one of those relationships. And so I think there is kind of there actually is some power to this too in terms of keeping your data a little cleaner by using a pick list based implementation.
For sure. It's, I mean, the theme of what we're trying to talk about today is it's no different than what we've always done for our clients. We categorize our clients, even if you say you do the exact same service for every single client, you are going to need to categorize them for one way or another, even if it is simply for ADV purposes and you need to know how many states people live in. We have to be able to categorize our clients. And we can do the exact same thing to everybody else, our COIs, our vendors, you name it. I mean, you want to have a key vendor list. So that way, when you have to do your vendor due diligence, you have Quivr tagged. So you remember, oh, I need to send help at Quivr CRM, this email address or this email template because they're going to do whatever. Or they're going to tell me where the SOC 2 report for Salesforce is. Like you can do anything you want. So leverage those fields, leverage that functionality to make other components of your practice simpler, cleaner, and more efficient.
Yeah, for sure.
It was interesting. When I got asked that question, I had like an epiphany of these in this firm, by the way, that was kind of asking me about COIs and all that. They've got great data. And it's just like all they had to do was kind of flip that switch of, oh, we can apply those same skill sets to everybody else. But it was good. I like it. It was a good conversation. I guess I lied. That didn't come from office hours today. That came from a conversation with an onboarding firm. But regardless, that's a wrap. If you're a Quivr user, remember, join us for office hours on Wednesdays where we can help you with similar items. Again, philosophical items, technical items. We're open to having all conversations. If you're not a Quivr user, that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes and nobody is perfect. But don't worry, it's not too late. Come schedule a demo, hang out with me, hang out with Will, and see what Quivr can do for you.